Welcome to EJH British Cars. Today we're going to work on the Distributor, which was on the car when I got it, so I'm assuming it's the original, but you never know. There's so many years it could have changed. So let's get started. So here's the Distributor, and first thing I wanted to do is take this collar off the bottom, which is just held in with this roll pin, and notice that there are some shims in here, so you want to make sure that you keep those. And I just would note that the hole for the roll pin is offset, so you don't have to know which way it's going to go back on. So it's only going to fit one way. Let's put those there. And then let's get, there's the old rotor, which is pretty beat. And then if you look, there's a slotted screw right down there. And that's the screw you're supposed to remove to lubricate the weights. It's also how this Distributor comes apart. So let's get that out of there. That came off fairly easily. I gotta tell you, it doesn't look like this thing's been oiled for an awful long time. That hole is bone dry. So there's the flathead screw. And I think we'll go ahead and take these Distributor parts out as well. So we're going to convert this to Pectronics when we're all said and done, but we don't want to lose any of this stuff. And that is more than likely a posi drive as opposed to a Phillips head, which have a slightly different taper to them. There's the condenser. Don't lose that screw either. The points fit over a post over here. All right. So I turned this until that came out of the slot. And then this piece should come out of here, but it's just, oh, there's a little cotter pin right there we need to pull out. Yes, it's a tiny spring pin. Once you get the tension broken on the posies, you can use just a regular Phillips head, but if you try to use a regular Phillips head, you'll wallow the cross drive out. Now this ground wire is attached under the plate on the advanced side. It's attached right there under the plate on the advanced side. Here's the advanced plate. Guess we didn't have to take that nut off. We could have left that on it. Oh yeah, there we go. There's the shaft the points were on. Now the advance should come out. And there should be numbers on this thing. I'll go clean this up and we'll see. The numbers are right here. This one says 411.7. And I think what this is that at 4 inches of vacuum is where it starts. 7 inches of vacuum is where it's moved its full extent, and 11 is how many degrees it changes. And don't forget, this is camshaft degrees, so it's actually 22 degrees of crank advance. So got that in the vise and it came right off. So there it is. That should be a piece of 1/8 inch copper line. And I think it's got an olive on the end of it. That's what compresses it in there. Be able to see it. You can see it's just a piece of copper line, and then that's the little olive right there, a ferrule. So fortunately I know that my parts store carries that line. I really like copper a lot better than I like plastic. Let's see if we go find a vacuum tool and we'll check this out. Well, this one looks like a sieve, unfortunately, so I'll have to see if we can find another one. I know people were starting to supply these and I haven't looked in a couple of years, so it may be easier to find than they were at one point in time. So, back to the distributor body. So you can see down there, these are the weights. We get all the returns out of here. I don't know what's up with that. It looks like somebody tried to re-drill it or something. Well, there's the empty hull. This is the bushing. This bushing's got a little wear in it, but it doesn't feel too bad. What I'll do is, so these are the two springs. Differ from one another, but these, well, maybe they are. So I just did a web search, and it's $120 for a new vacuum advance, or $108 for a brand new distributor with a vacuum advance. So, seeing as there's some other stuff that's messed up on this thing, I'm just going to go ahead and buy a distributor. So, next we should be getting the fuel pump rebuild kit in the next day or so, so we will do that probably on the rest of this video. Today we're going to see if we can't take this ugly mess of a fuel pump and clean it up and rebuild it. So it mounts on the car like this. This is the lever that goes into the car. And you can see there's not much resistance on that. This one's well and truly shot. This is the separator bowl. This will be line in and line out. And if you notice, this little piece of line, it's got this little bubble on it. So if you can save that piece, I would save it. And also, never throw away these hex fittings because they are different between US and English. So the US will fit, but a lot of times if you're using ferrules or olives, they won't seal with the US type fittings, whereas with the UK ones they will. So let's go ahead and get this line off, see what we got. Well, that's messy. You look, see how that fairing is off at an angle, and the tweak in the tube right there, and this tube is plated, and I don't think the original tubes would have been. So we'll just put that aside for now, and then we'll go to this one, which is the inlet, which the wrench fits correctly on. And that's an inverted flare. So it's doubled and pushed in, whereas a bubble flare, this outer profile would move out. So like when you go into your brake master cylinders, the inlets or the output of the cylinder is typically a bubble flare. So we're going to keep that for now, and it'll probably clean up. But I kind of like that it's got this end on it, though that diameter is greatly reduced, so maybe we won't save this. Anyhow. And then this is actually designed to be removed in the car, because this is how you clean the filter in here. So if you need a glass bowl, this is a standard AC bowl, just like used on American cars. So I've actually bought new bowls for these right at my local parts store, though I got to admit it's been a long time since I did that. But chances are if they sold them, they may not stock them anymore, but you can probably still get them, and it's very common. So this is called an HC. But like I say, the AC filter will fit, and the AC gaskets will fit. And this one definitely needs one. Look at this. This is rubber. So that's well and truly cooked. Like I say, it's been I've owned this car for 20 years, and it's never had gasoline in it. God only knows how many years before that. But it's dirty, but it's not eaten up. So that's good. And then this spring will just come off like that. I don't know, I suppose I didn't really show you this, but this thumb wheel just turns and it pushes up on that glass bowl. So to undo it, you just turn to the left as you would any normal fastener. Okay. Now we're to here. So I'm going to go clean this up a little bit on the wire wheel because I want to clean the slots out on these screws before I disassemble it. So I'll be back. I've gotten the 6 screws out of here. They're just flatheads. And you can buy screws with these same threads and everything, but you're not going to find them with these really tall heads. So if you're trying to make these look as good as you can, you want to make sure you save these and make sure you use a good screwdriver so you don't bugger the slots up. So here this is. You can see the edge of the diaphragm there. This is why you need to take this stuff apart and not just put fuel in it, see if they'll start. So that's the top half. And that'll be mostly aluminum oxide. And it's hard to see, but there's one valve there, there's one there. One faces up, one faces down. And make sure you know which one is which in there too. And here's the diaphragm. So that's got this big spring. And the diaphragm has, see, the 2 notches here. And they fit in where these 2 notches are here, which is connected to this lever. So you can replace this without pulling this pin. This is one of the things, again, this was years ago, but the replacement pumps, these pins used to work their way out. People had a lot of trouble with that for a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and clean these up some more. I think I may actually, well, I'm going to mechanically scrape this a little bit, but I think I'm going to throw these in the ultrasonic cleaner for a while. Made in Canada. And get them cleaned up. Well, I got the valves out. As you can see, they came out in several pieces. You'd find it's a little bit easier for the one that sits in that way. I took a punch and just pushed it down a little bit. Don't push it too far, otherwise you're going to lose it in the cavity and it's a press fit. You won't be able to get it back out. Those are those pieces. This is the one that goes in upside down. And you don't want it to get it down in that hole too far. As you can see, there's a little bit of penetrating oil on here, but also cleaned up a lot of this stuff along with it. I'm going to put these in the ultrasonic cleaner, let them get a bit cleaner than that. And I will probably work on the sealing area around there a little bit. Where the valves were actually in contact is pretty clean, but coming to and fro, there's still quite a bit of corrosion and then there. These are from Harbor Freight. They come in a pack of 4 small pliers. It's like, there's another one that comes in the set, and this. They're like $8 or something like that, but these have been, I use these things all the time. But this was really handy because I could get in through the cross on the valve and then lever it up, and it actually came out fairly easily. All right, so I've cleaned these up. Not too bad. I used the new Harbor Freight ultrasonic cleaner, which is on another video. If you look in the there's a review of the Harbor Freight ultrasonic cleaner on my YouTube page with the other reviews in that playlist. So this thing was very corroded along here, and there's nothing you can do for that. I mean, we've got the corrosion off, but it's a rough surface, but I don't think it really matters. The big thing is are these surfaces clean, and they look pretty good. This is where your valves are going back in. So, clean it with the ultrasonic cleaner. Been using a screwdriver on them. I also use the drill press with a brass brush in it, just to get down in there and try to clean around. So we'll mount it up in the vise just lightly, because I don't want to mess it up. These valves are one way, and they basically flow. The flow is from this flat side towards the dome side, and you can tell that just blowing air through them with your mouth. Don't use a compressor. So the fuel comes from this side into the pump and out. So this one goes facing up. This one goes facing down. And then we'll need this to secure those in. So you could either find something that would fit the outside diameter of that without crushing the dome, or I'm just going to use this punch. They don't feel very tight. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a center punch, and I'm just going to swedge the edges a little bit. That's how the later style ones are done. So this is a center punch or nail punch, whatever you want to call it. And just going to make sure those are down all the way. And then it gets some of the housing, and we'll just expand it inward a little bit and see if that seems to have held it pretty well. I just want to make sure these things are down all the way. That feels better. This is the inlet side. This one feels like it's a lot tighter fit. Yeah, that feels pretty tight now. It doesn't take much. Now remember that this fuel pump is like 2 psi to start with. These have holes in them, so they don't have that much suction, and they're probably maybe half a square inch or so. So it's only a pound, or maybe at the max 2 pounds pressure on those devices. So you can see this is the inlet side, and that's facing up. This is the pressure side. That's facing down. So let's go put well, there's the spring. That goes in that recess. Don't forget, we have to put this in and then turn it so it engages the lever arm. And I want to wind up with this tab facing here towards the arm. So put that in. Get the spring centered in. And there it is. You see, that makes that go up and down. So it's interesting. There's actually 12 holes here. You can see these ones weren't used, but they're drilled on that side, or cast. So that to be able to orient whatever you needed, you can clock the assembly for your own use. So this one is clocked in this direction, which put the tab here, which if it was like this, that's basically at 1 o'clock. And you got to get the holes in the diaphragm lined up with the holes in the pump. The pump goes on the motor, so that way, and this is going to face forward. The pump's on the driver's side of the car. So it's going to be like that. So then if we get some of these screws, and get it through the diaphragm, and compress that spring a little bit. we'll just go around and run a star pattern, just get them down to touch. Don't want to, there we go, so there's all 6 snug. Oh. We got to put, I'd be surprised if we have 5 foot-pounds on these things. They're pretty 3/16 I think was the size. 1032 is kind of modern. All right, so that's all those snug down. I did notice that this fuel pump is missing its gauze screen, so we will need to pick one of those up. Oh, I need to clean this. Hang on. Got this cleaned up. That just slides back into there. Bring that across. Get that into there. A little bit of, see, just a little bit of gunge down in this passage. So blow that out. Much more better. So normally the brass gauze will go in next, and then it gets the rubber gasket. I'm just going to put this together for now so I don't lose the parts, and I'll put a gauze in later. That goes over there. Let's run that up, and just run that up snug. And there you go. It's done. So that'll take care of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you on the next one.